Does it happen to you that you keep postponing something you quite enjoy doing or that is quite important to you? I'm not talking about procrastinating exactly, because that's a little bit of a different matter. I don't tend to be a procrastinator myself, you have to trust me on that one. But I'm talking rather about starting something at the right time and taking the right steps at the right time. Now, with this whole coronavirus situation and the way it impacted on our lifestyles and our whole world today, the right time question has become a lot more of an acute and important one. Maybe this is a little bit of a heavier introduction for what I want to talk about and show you in this vlog, but let's go forward and let me reveal to you what I am going to actually show you in this vlog. I am Katarina George, writer and vlogger, and today I'd like to recover something that got buried under the avalanche of coronavirus. I am sure that everybody's life out there was affected by this, just as mine has. I went through different stages regarding health, work, my perspective over the future, over the present moment, over everyday life, and certain things in the way that I perceive all of these have changed, but there are things that remain evergreen. One of those is poetry. Just before the coronavirus started to spread over the world, I went to one of the most amazing poetry events that I've ever been to in my life. Luckily, it's happening in Birmingham, my favorite closest city to where I live, and it's called Verve Poetry Festival. I have done a vlog in 2019, last year, about the first Verve Festival that I've ever been to, and that was great, but the 2021 was just as amazing as the coronavirus situation is startling and so confusing right now. But without further ado, let's scroll back to February, when I had just dyed my hair a completely different color. It was plum then. So you'll see me in this vlog with two different colors, my February plum and my stripy blonde fuchsia red, pink, whatever I'm wearing right now. Let's go together to this poetry event that stays evergreen by the amazing wealth of thought and emotion that was shared on stage in February.
6 feet down the cliff, and believe you have fallen from the dread summit and survived. You think this is the ground. Till you notice the larks passing at eye level, drop a cufflink and fall 50 feet into the open palm of another ridge. Deeper in, scratched, closed, torn, you've lost a shoe, but you think, this is the ground. I can bake that lasagna now. Till a kite gets snagged in your hair. Your feet meet a plunging carpet, now you're hanging by your necklace from a branch thinking, this is the ground, let's buy a puppy. As you sit in your bracken chair, as you fall in your chair like a lopped flower head, face planting, yes, ground in a tree, wind burnt from momentum, whiplashed by your own screams, ups, then ups, straddling a lamppost, a pillar, a shed, each time believing this is the ground, believing you survived, falling, landing, falling out, who knows how long you've been travelling down this thing, held in the loosening, tightening fist of a giant with a featureless face. Thud. At last, I can put up that shelf, make that baby. You lie and let your bones heal, looking up at the distance, experiencing plateau for the first time. Cold, hard, real, the opposites of air. You shake like a prodigal astronaut. I could build a house on this, you think.
Conversation with Fantasy Mother. Dear Fantasy Mother, thank you for taking my coming out as calmly as a pond accepts a stone flung into its depths. You sieved my tears, added an egg, then baked a beautiful cake. You said, Let us celebrate, for today you are reborn as my beloved. The candles gleamed, and the icing was almost true, impossibly white, coated with the sweetness of sprinkles. We sat together at the table and ate. Afterwards, I returned to my room and touched all the forbidden parts of myself, felt a kindness I had not known in years.
What a festival Verve Poetry delivered in 2020. I might have said this last year, but I will keep saying it year after year after year, as long as this festival happens in Birmingham, and I'm convinced it will keep happening. Verve Poetry Festival is one of the reasons why I really love Birmingham so much. And this year I don't even know where to begin, but maybe I will just begin with the end. Tonight we had the very last poetry performance event in the 2020 edition of the festival, and I have to confess that I fell in love with a poet. That would not be the very first time, and I'm certain it won't be the last time either. And she is Mimi Khalvati, this Iranian-born poet who lived for most of her life in London and who read poetry with such a joy and such a light in it, so much humor and depth at the same time, so much beauty that I am completely won over.
You're smaller than you were, or so you think. You don't remember sinking quite so low on other seats. Something has made you shrink, or else something has made the seat back grow. You're a normal child, if a bit bewildered, struggling to push the feelings down, the questions, the stillborn questions never to be answered, stretching to see a sky that sickens, flying away from all you know, with you and someone sitting next to you, but who? The only ones not gone or disappearing. It's normal to feel trust. And you do, don't you? Trust is a kind of seatbelt, stretching, shrinking, a camel band. You'll soon forget you're wearing.
But I will scroll quickly through the events that I attended this year from Verve's schedule, or maybe I should call it their program, because that's what it is. And it's so iconic. I've always loved their colors as well. The Verve pink, the Verve yellow, and the Verve blue. And I have been here for the very first evening, the opening evening, when Birdsbeat took the stage over like a force of poetry. I was completely in awe with her. Then I saw familiar faces such as Clive Owen, a poet whom I have met at various open mic events around the Black Country, and who usually makes us laugh with the humor in his poems, but he chose to go for a deep and sad one this year, and I absolutely loved it. I loved his vulnerability in that piece. Then, yes, I completely enjoyed the guys who came from Scotland, from the Loud Poets group there, and precisely Kevin MacLean and Katie Ailes. She is an American poet who's been living in Scotland for 8 years now, and again she had such luminous poetry, such energy in her writing, and particularly her poem Daughter touched me because it talked about a world that she would give to her unborn yet daughter, whom she hopes to have one day. A world where women are empowered, a world where women can choose what they want to be and nobody tells them how and what they need to be. A world where we all share into this empowerment and this freedom and the joy and making the world our own. Also, Saturday I had a workshop with Liz Berry, and I really recommend if you see a workshop with her around. It just felt really warm and really thought-provoking. It was a workshop about poetry performance, and it just felt like a group of people supporting each other in what can be heart-wrenching, because we step on stage with all of our vulnerability and all of our intimate things that we want to share. But that's the one thought I took from there. People who love poetry are not there to judge you. They will accept what you give to them, as long as it's authentic and it truly comes from the heart. And, you know, as long as you're not completely frightened to be on stage, because then they will feel bad for you. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe you even recognized some of the poets and performers that I had captured on camera back in February. I know that a number of my subscribers are also into poetry and writing themselves. And I also intend to do a lot more poetry related stuff on my Twitter account, because I follow poets such as Caroline Bird, whom I've discovered at Verve Poetry Festival 2020. She's absolutely amazing. She's like a supernova. And Twitter can work really well for poetry and anything literature related. Also, I might do some more poetry related stuff on my Instagram account, the handle down here as well. On Instagram I tend to post a lot of photography that I take in my walks and travels. I am quite passionate about photography as well as another creative venue that I enjoy exploring. If you enjoyed this vlog, remember to please give me thumbs up. It does help my content reach other people as well. Sharing it also helps, and of course subscribing to my channel right here, and hopefully you will enjoy what I've got in store for you for my next vlogs. In my future vlogs I plan to talk about how my lifestyle has gone a lot more eco-friendly, a lot greener over the recent years. Also, I want to take you around in the countryside where I live. If you think English countryside, I don't know what comes to your mind if you're not from England and you haven't lived in the countryside, but I want to show it to you in a perspective that is a little bit of Alice in Wonderland. But without making this vlog a lot longer than necessary, I will just wrap it up for now and say ciao until next time.